Hello everyone and welcome back to the Hammerdown Festival YouTube channel, and today we're sat with David and Fraser from Gypsy's Kiss. How are we, guys?
Good. Yeah, we're both good in different places, but both good.
Thank you very much for coming on and being here. It's a very, very exciting chat for me. I followed you guys for a couple of years now, and I want to get into the history if I can, because of course I've read the website and I've had many conversations with the pair of you. So if I'm correct, you formed in '74, but previously you were under the name of Influence, which is also one of the names of one of your songs. David, I wonder if you could give me a little bit of a brief history of the very early days and how it
Okay.
all came to be.
I'll try and keep it. Try and keep it brief. I left school in 1973 along with a Steve Harris, who was similarly minded in football team support and our love of the same bands and music. Uh, Coincidentally, this crops up in another half generation at the same school as Paul Diano, who was there as Paul Andrews. So three of us at the same school. So Steve and I left in '73. We only lived about half a mile from each other, me in Leighton, him in Leytonstone. And we remained friends after school, which is not how it always goes. Still love of football and music, as I said. So we decided to form a band. He wanted to be a drummer, but there was no room in his house. He lived with his nan in Still Road in Leytonstone. There was no room in the front room for drums, so he wanted to play bass. So we were chatting about it. I helped him buy his first two basses, actually. And told him a bit of the rudiments to it, which he quickly picked up and has become, best rock bassist ever, probably now, many people say. So we formed a band called Influence in the summer of 1973. We spent about 4 months trying to find the right people to join us. So we tinkered around and we recorded some stuff on cassettes, as you did then. We played a local music festival. We finally got a four-piece band, which eventually became a five-piece band, and we changed the name to Gypsy's Kiss in early '74. So correct, Gypsy's Kiss was born there, although we had a bit of a musical relationship before that.
Fantastic. So the album '74, are all of the tracks on there compositions from those early days that you guys wrote?
No, they're not. The compositions, three quarters of them on the Heat Crazed Vol album, are songs from '74. They are Heat Crazed Vol itself. That is What Went Wrong. It's Influence and Endless Pit. Those were songs written by me in 1974 that the old Gypsy's Kiss played. So we recorded them, modernized them. When we brought the album out, what was that, 5 years ago? So the stuff on '74 is just a nod to how long we've been about, I suppose, in spirit and in playing. And they're all new compositions, but I think they're a nod to a classic rock era.
Interesting. Okay, right, good. I didn't know that. So with the writing process now, we're going to get onto the album in a minute.
Yeah.
Between you guys, who does most of the writing? Who puts together the compositions? What is the writing process for you guys?
Well, Fraser will want to come in on this. On this current album, we probably, particularly post-COVID, changed the way that we write. In the early days, we'd sit in a room, take that stuff to a rehearsal studio, and we'd work it out. And then some lyrics would be added, some melody would be added, some guitar would be added, and that was a writing process. This time, we tended to bring half or three quarters of the chord structure, the song, the theme, with that composed by whoever's been involved in it. And then somebody else, typically me, would add melody, lyrics, and some other bits. And I've also brought those songs to the party. So I think this album is a different and probably better way to compose, because we've got more diversity on it and more in the band in the composing process. And I really do think this album, and I would say this one, I really like it because it's diverse and different, and I think that reflects there's more writing input from different corners of the band.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think also with '74, the songs were kind of already there in a way. So when we came to record it, there was very little room and very little time to bring in new ideas, new songs, new people getting involved. But we've had more time with the difficult second, which is really the third album, to develop that and get more people involved and new ideas. And I think that is why this album is very different from the last album.
It's taken us 3 years to produce this 12-track album. But interestingly, they've sort of been done in what, Fraser, 4 bursts over those 3 years. You know, we've done little, you know, we do 2 or 3 songs and 3 or 4 songs, and to finish the album, I think we blitzed on 5, didn't we? Over 5 or 6 days in the recording studio.
Yeah, after all that time, and it was then a very short space of time where it all came together. Yeah.
So, Fraser, is that where the name of the record comes from then? Because I'd sort of figured with that at the time, is that where Piece by Piece came from?
You know, David was coming up with a few ideas, and then as it got closer to the album being done bit by bit, it seemed logical to call it Piece by Piece, and it has been a bit of a jigsaw puzzle. So, yeah.
Somebody said to me, Harry, it's Piece by Piece has got 12 letters in it, is why it's got 12 tracks. You know, I thought, well, that's a good idea. I'll link on that one. I hadn't thought that. But as Fraser said, you know, it's right. We did want to reflect that what we now produce is not just out of 1 or 2 people. It's the sum of our parts, which was our original working title for the band. So everybody makes a contribution. The fans make a contribution. Everybody does. We wouldn't be where we are without everyone. Only to find that name was nabbed by Diamond Head, I think, some years ago. So I rethought this. Is so, well, hang on. We are doing this piece by piece, bit by bit, step by step. So we'll call it Piece by Piece, and we develop this sort of jigsaw puzzle theme that runs through the album. So Harry, you're right. It is in a bit by bit, piece by piece, and anybody that listens to the album when it comes out will hear those lyrics in one of the songs because they reflect that.
Well, that was going to be my next question, because I wonder what you can tell us about some of the tracks individually, because you haven't hidden the information. The track lists are out. You've put out a lot of the information. You've posted, you know, some of the inserts from the booklet and all that kind of thing online. So you've been quite open about what's going on the album. What can you tell us about some of the individual tracks, and what are some of your favourite ones thus far, both of you? And does it change, actually? Sorry.
Oh, you mean your favourite track? Oh, yeah. Every time I listen to it, which is, you know, quite a lot, and all the way through the recording and the mixing and the editing and the mastering and the development process, you know, it's changed. And I'm a bit old school. Fraser might say, no, not me. I like to think the order of the listing has had some thought attached to it. It isn't just, you know, thrown in a hat and how do these 12 come out. That we've given it, I think, a bit of flow thought. And yeah, our favourites change. Let Fraser tell you his, and then I'll tell you mine, and we might even coincide on it.
I think I'd agree with that over the kind of, once it was recorded, you then listen to it again and again and again. David has, Ian, our producer, has, and you tweak things here. It took a lot of work in production to get it to where it is now. And during that process, you actually end up getting bored with listening to 1 or 2, and then others kind of, everyone's jockeying for position in terms of favourite song, not favourite song, bored of that song. And eventually you get where you are. And I quite like them all now.
I'm still listening to it for a reason that I like them all, like Fraser does. And 2, I've actually got to remember the words. So the more I listen to it, the better.
Very true. Yes.
And yeah, every time I listen to it, I hear another bit that I'd either forgotten about or not tuned into. And it becomes a great song.
I think that's a very good place to be if you've got an album where the favourite song chops and changes quite a lot, because if it's very evident you've got 1 or 2 really good songs on there that are clearly the favourites for everyone, then that may suggest that the rest of the record is less good. So
yeah, there's really nothing. Fraser made a good point. There's nothing on there that I'm unhappy with. You know, I like them all. It's quite diverse. They each have some different themes, and you know, one of the things we're really looking forward to is debuting some of the new songs we've yet to play live. And at Hammerdown, we are debuting some of those songs we have never played live before that are on the new album. So, you know, we've gone through a little process to choose what they will be, because, you know, we're obviously need to be limited to a number. So really, really looking forward to bringing out some new songs to play live, and eventually, which is something we didn't do on the last album, it is our intention to play everything live at some stage.
Okay, wow. So, as you mentioned, you're playing at Hammerdown. You've got the album coming out the day before the festival.
Day before, yeah.
That's very exciting. And my question was going to be, what can we expect from the set? There's going to be some new ones in there. I suppose the follow-up question is, you're now having that that problem that bands get to when they've done a few records, of how on earth do you choose what goes into the set? Because especially if you want to mix some of the new ones in there.
Yeah, we're doing that at the moment, but I think we've centered on, you won't get 6 different people agreeing. It's not going to happen. So, we want to have a little nod to the 3 albums. It would be silly to say, well, we're completely isolating one of them. But we'll focus on getting stuff from the new album out there, because we're itching to play it.
Where will people be able to get the album, guys?
On the 18th of July. But more importantly, one can pre-order the CD, if that's how you like it, right now on our Bandcamp site, or better still, on our website, which is www.gypsieskiss.net. And the album can be ordered there. And all pre-orders get the album signed by us with some other little niceties thrown into it, album pics, album badges, pictures and stuff. So yeah, can order it now, and it will be with you by the 18th. Other than that, we are flogging it at Hammerdown for the first time.
Can I also say that with regard to song choices, it's quite difficult when you've got so many new ones and your set's only 30 minutes long, Harry.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. No, definitely, because you can only fit so much in there. So that's
and our big problem, Harry, and I don't want Fraser to comment on this, but you'll know this, is that one of us in the band talks a lot.
I'm not saying anything.
So I'm sure he will try and limit that down so that we can play as much as new material as
we regularly lose 1 or 2 songs in a set because someone is talking a lot.
Yeah,
I see.
That's safe to say.
That's it. Okay. So I've got one more question for you. We've been asking every band on these interviews if they were to build their dream festival lineup. So Gypsy's Kiss would play alongside 6 other bands. Who would they be? You can be diplomatic and choose 3 each. I don't know what you want to do, but
I assume this is bands that are currently gigging.
No, it can be anybody. It can be
blimey.
Which opens it up even further and makes it more difficult.
That's so difficult off the top of your head.
Okay, so we want bands. I'm trying to limit this down to something that's sensible now. So we would want bands in our genre, I guess. So there would be a festival genre. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really? No, make it anything. Anything you like.
I'm going to bloody resurrect Elvis or something now if we do that, aren't we? All right. Yeah, let's pick one each and go along. Fraser, you go first.
All right. I'm going first because this is kind of relevant. I'm going to say Saxon.
Oh, Saxon. Yeah, okay. Cool.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go screamingly obvious here and say Led Zeppelin.
Okay, nice. Yeah, we've had a few people say Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll go back in time as well. They're still sort of around. I'll say Aerosmith.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
I'm going to start losing some of my favourite bands now, but I want to go down, the great live route. I'm going to go Thin Lizzy.
Nice.
Good one. All right. Finally, I've got to say UFO. Got to.
I was going to do that. So I'm glad you picked them. Right. I'll go a final mainstream and go Deep Purple.
Nice, fantastic. So, in the dream world, if Gypsy's Kiss was play the Ultimate Festival, it would be with Saxon, Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple, Aerosmith, Thin Lizzy, and UFO.
I'd pay good money for that.
That's the lineup.
For that. Yeah. That's...
Have you noticed? But fans of ours and our family, please do not be offended that neither of us have picked Iron Maiden. Can I just say, because you will, they have such a reach and such a family of all ages that I went to see them Saturday at London Stadium.
Cool, you did. Yeah, of course you did. Yeah.
And I've got to say, they were bloody good. I mean, really good. Absolutely polished. Great with an audience, and just that they were very, very good. So, this is not being diplomatic. This is just me being honest now. I'd be more than happy for them to join any festival lineup we're on, because they're just,
of course, yeah,
on a real, in their dotage, on a real roll.
Were you there early enough for the Raven Age, by the way? Did you catch them?
No, I was not there early enough for that, I'm afraid. So I saw, that's an awful thing to say. I think I couldn't get in the bloody stadium quick enough, because we were at the Cart. I was at the Cart before, and then went to the stadium, and was awash with former Iron Maiden members who were all sitting around me. We were in the barn with Mistake Raven actually. But I saw Hellstorm and then saw Maiden, of course.
And we will see Raven Age at Hammerdown, won't we?
You will. Yes.
And a final thing on Hammerdown, which we are really excited to play, is that you've got at least 2 bands there in the Iron Maiden family where we are, happy to be at the top of that family tree. You've got Raven Age with Steve's son, and of course you've got Tigers, who are very much in that genre. And I performed alongside Tigers in France in whenever it was, as a sort of broader Paul Di'Anno tribute thing, and they were really good, lovely fellas, but really good. So an exciting 2 days, I think.
Yeah, it should be really, really good. Gentlemen, thank you very, very much.
Thank you, mate.
For the time. And everybody, if you haven't got your tickets yet, get yours now to Hammerdown Festival. Make sure you pre-order the album and head over to the Gypsy Kids merch stand at the event. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Harry.